Recently, I shared about my personal experience with fertility, and there's a deeper root that I still want to share with you. Now, there's this cathartic relief that comes with sharing personal stories, and also my intention was to lead into a deeper story and connect myself to this deeper experience that many of us are participating in and experiencing. From a scientific perspective, we know that 1 in 5 people, or couples rather, 1 in 5 couples experience an inability to conceive. That is a significant figure, and that figure has gotten more and more prevalent with time. We're in a current reproductive environment where human beings are effectively losing their capacity to reproduce. And we can also see this reflected in the statistic that 1 in every 2 or 3 women, so assigned female at birth, experience a clinically significant hormone, reproductive, or menstrual-related health concern in their bleeding years. So every other person, every other woman you know probably has something going on with their uterus, their menses, their fertility, and 1 in 5 couples are experiencing an inability to conceive. This is very significant, and I have recently shared that I am part of this group. Certainly, I have had my fair share of hormone-related health concerns, and most recently I've shared about the fact that I technically meet the criteria for infertility, which is no pregnancy after 12 months of unprotected sex. And we need to ask ourselves, what is going on? What is going on? Why does everyone experience hormone chaos? And why, as a group, are we losing our ability to reproduce? There's layers to that, many layers, many nuances. In fact, it's my entire body of work to unpack all of those layers. And in this conversation, I want to bring our awareness to the breadth and the depth. So by anchoring into these statistics, we start to gain a perspective where we realize that this is very common, that we are not alone in our experiences, and that when something is occurring with this kind of prevalence, when it's happening this often, we need to ask why. Why? Why are we not getting pregnant anymore? Why are our hormones absolutely all over the place? Hormone function and our ability to conceive is a byproduct of so many things. From a general perspective, the endocrine system, which is the fancy word for hormone system, so we can use those words interchangeably, endocrine and hormone. Our endocrine system are chemical messengers zipping around our physiology and telling stories. They're communicating about external conditions. They're communicating about internal conditions. They're transmitting signals. So in short, they are messengers. Our hormones are messengers. which is fairly poetic given the sense that we are looking at what message are our hormones sending. What are the messengers telling us? They're certainly telling us that there is imbalance present. Fertility is a natural phenomenon, and given the right conditions, it emerges naturally. Fertility is not something to achieve, to strive for. It is an emergent phenomenon, just like health. And that posture, that mental posture, that orientation, that fertility is a naturally emergent phenomenon, in itself is profound and worth sitting with, spending some time with. We are very used to a biomedical model of conventional medicine which shares an expertise in pathology. Pathology is the study of disease. How do things go wrong in the body? There is this fantastically intricate system of cataloging and categorizing pathology, how things go wrong. And there's many areas of focus that could be related to the conversation we're having right now. So reproductive endocrinologists have a speciality in the pathology associated with the reproductive hormones, for example. Being a naturopathic doctor, I'm very well versed in pathology. And having spent so many hours with my naturopathic elders and other mentors and healers, I know that pathologizing has its limitations. Pathologizing has limitations, and we need to remember that. So if you are on a hormone healing or fertility journey, you've been given a diagnosis, which is ultimately a very concise pathology statement, please know that there are limitations to that perspective, and there are other ways that we can look at your experience, look at my experience, for example. So for someone like me who meets the diagnostic criteria for infertility, I could choose to fixate on what's wrong. And sometimes that could look like frantic cycle tracking, using ovulation strips to see if I can find that LH spike and timing intercourse during that LH spike. That might look like hormone testing to see if there are abnormal values. And that could be aggressive supplementation to push pathology in a particular direction. Those are reasonable in some circumstances, and they certainly are popular choices right now. When I look at the hormone healing and fertility space, I see a lot of people creating dialogue about those approaches, those modalities, those techniques. This is not about right or wrong. It is about gaining perspective of the holistic opportunity that is before us. Like I said, infertility is layered. There are so many layers to this, and working with people who have been diagnosed with an inability to conceive multiple times, having successful pregnancies, I am well aware of the kinds of layers that are required to traverse those kinds of journeys and ultimately find success with those kinds of successful outcomes. So to summarize where we've been, we've talked about pathologizing. And we've talked about some statistics that are related to hormones and fertility. And the takeaway that I really want to anchor in during this conversation is that your body is not making a mistake. Your body is not making a mistake. These wise words were shared with me by my naturopathic elder and mentor, Dr. Jared Zeff, and I want to share them with you. I share these with almost every client I've ever had, and I need to share them with myself as well, remind myself that as I am traversing my own personal fertility journey, I too am experiencing a body that is not making a mistake. And there's so many conversations that we need to have about if I'm experiencing an inability to conceive, what is the message that my physiology is trying to convey? What are the root causes of this infertility epidemic that we are all immersed in? What is going on? In this conversation, we're laying the foundation. We're looking at it with an eagle eye view just to get a sense of the breadth and the depth of this topic. In further conversations, we'll go even deeper into all of these layers. So if you're chomping at the bit and wondering, oh my gosh, just tell me what the root cause is so I can do it, so I can get pregnant, or I can fix my painful periods, or I can dissolve my fibroids, etc. I want you to pause. I want you to feel the contact that you're making under your pelvis. Maybe your feet are making contact with the floor. And I want you to look at your environment. Just take a look at all of the beautiful shapes, colors, and textures that your eyes can take in. And we're just taking a minute just to come back to the body, because the body is never making a mistake. And as we traverse this territory that is frankly uncharted, this may be for a long time. I'm not sure. I'm not a historian or an archaeologist, so I'm not certain, but this ability to or inability to reproduce is quite new. And so we need to slow down. We need to stay present with our body, stay in connection to ourselves, and stay in connection to the environment. There's usually a very, very extreme amount of urgency that is present in people who experience an inability to conceive. And that is completely warranted given the cultural pressure to reproduce. And also know that that urgency that you're feeling is not something you have to choose to continue to participate with and experience. So we can come back to the body, feeling that contact, checking in with our environment, and slowly unpeeling the layers of why human beings are experiencing an inability to conceive. So much love to you. I hope you take good care, and we'll chat soon.